All right, so now what you really waited for, the super deep sleepers. These are players that are being taken after round 12 by consensus ADP, which you could use Fantasy Life for all your consensus ADP, depending on what server, of course, you use. Some of these guys aren't even drafted.
Yeah.
By the way, Matthew, who do you like to start with here?
Yeah, in terms of the deep sleepers, and so we're as to your point, these are people that are not even being drafted, or if they are, it's very, very late round. And so I'm going to go. I'm high on Jacksonville as a. We talked about Travis Hunter on the other show. Obviously, we talked about Trevor Lawrence before. How about Brenton Strange, their tight end? At least 9 fantasy points in 7 of his 9 career games with double-digit target share. You think about the Jaguars last year with Trevor Lawrence, 8th in tight end target share. So they like to throw to the tight end. I get it. It's a different offense than what they were running last year under Doug Peterson. But Liam Cohen comes in. He made Kate Otten a thing last year.
Yeah.
Brenton Strange is somebody that I believe on a team that is going to be throwing a ton. And outside of the 2 big guys, there's not a lot of competition in the middle of the field. Again, Evan Ingram is now in Denver. We got Parker Washington, nice little slot player, but whatever. But I do think as a tight end 2, I have him at tight end 16. His current ADP is tight end 21. I like Brenton Strange this year. You see my rankings there on the screen.
Brenton Strange, right behind Dalton Kincaid and right in front of waiver wire darling Hunter Henry.
For sure.
Just going to put up his 8 touchdowns as always, Hunter Henry. My first deep sleeper, and there will be a running theme across my 2 deep sleepers, but my first one is Hollywood Brown, who's going 154th overall as wide receiver 60. And the angle here is that there's just a lot of uncertainty around Rashee Rice and how long he is going to be out, what the Chiefs' offense is going to look like. We all expect that Xavier Worthy will step up and be the guy. But there are worlds where Hollywood Brown is, in given games, the number 1 option for Patrick Mahomes. And he had a 19% target share when he was out there with Mahomes last season. Hollywood Brown, who feels like he's been around forever, he just turned 28. He's 4 years younger than Devontae Adams. It's not like this guy is completely done or anything.
For sure.
We didn't see him much with Mahomes at all last year. So I just think that, when you're talking about deep sleepers, I'm not looking for guys who can just, maybe get onto the end of my bench and be 6 points. Yeah, I want upside.
Right.
And Hollywood Brown, I do think, has some upside still. We thought that he would come in and potentially be a wide receiver 1 for Mahomes last year alongside Rashee Rice. We just didn't see him out in the field much.
He's been an elite fantasy talent before. So, it's funny. A friend of mine, a guy named Ron Chandler, who's a legend in the fantasy baseball space, always used to say, when it comes to fantasy baseball analysis, that once you display a skill, you own it. That a player would. And so, to the point is we have seen Hollywood Brown produce at a high level in fantasy football. It has not happened recently because of injuries, and there's certainly target competition in Kansas City, but Rashee Rice is, you never know, right, in terms of how injuries play out, how the suspension ultimately is going to pay out for Rice. So Hollywood Brown, given the potential talent, the potential of staying healthy, and 15 at quarterback, is certainly a worthy bet to take. I'm at 157 overall, and that's about where he's going. I mean, he's not even going inside the top 60 wide receivers.
Yeah. I'm taking almost your exact playbook, the Bills version, in Josh Palmer.
Sure.
Josh Palmer right now, who they gave a lot of money to, by the way. He got a 3-year contract worth over $30 million. Josh Palmer right now, by ADP, 184th. That's wide receiver 70. He's a total afterthought. There's a world, especially with Khalil Shakir banged up right now, that Josh Palmer is Josh Allen's number 2 wide receiver.
Yeah.
Josh Allen's number 2 wide receiver cannot be wide receiver 70. He can't.
Yeah.
And he wins down the field.
He wins down the field, right? Again, we think Keon Coleman is going to be good, but we haven't seen it yet.
We've seen consistently.
We've seen flashes, but we have not seen it consistency. You got Curtis Samuel, Elijah Moore, right? Again, in terms of deep threats, it's really Palmer versus Coleman.
Right.
And, Allen's got the kind of arm, and this is the kind of offense that potentially you could see both guys. So I don't mind the call at all. Remember, Josh Allen last year, top 4 among quarterbacks in terms of deep pass attempts. Stat that tells you what you already know. Dude likes to chuck it deep.
On that, last year, Bills receivers on targeted deep shots, they had the least separation in the NFL. So the guys just weren't getting open on those deep shots, and Allen was just, he's chucking it down there because he's Josh Allen. But if he's got a guy who can actually separate and get deep, he will get targeted.
3 for $30 million. No one's really been talking about it, right?
Yeah. It was a big deal. It was I think about $12 million per year. It was a big contract for a number 3 wide receiver.
For a guy that,
I like him more than everyone else.
Yeah.
So
I like that call. I like the call a lot. I'm in.
He's free.
100%.
Wide receiver 70s for free.
Yeah.
So
not being drafted at all. My next guy is This is going to surprise you, but I'm going back to the Commanders.
Oh,
I'm going to the
shocker.
Commanders.
I haven't had a lot of Commanders talk.
I haven't had a lot of Commanders, actually, to be honest with you. But
Jayden Daniels, deep sleeper.
yeah, exactly. I really like this kid, number 5. Jacory Croskey-Merritt, JCM, Bill, some people call him Bill, but JCM Hive, rise up. The opportunity is there in terms of this offense. Washington, top 12 in running back fantasy points last season as well. Look, he's already a fan favorite. You see our tweet from our friend JP Finley, all the kids yelling for Bill. He's become a fan favorite because they've seen him at practice in terms of the size and the speed. Like, there's an explosiveness to Bill, to Jacory Croskey-Merritt here. Each of the last 3 seasons, Brian Robinson has missed times. Austin Eckler missed 5 games last year. He's on the wrong side of 30. We love Austin Eckler, proud Fantasy Life investor. But the fact of the matter is there are scenarios where you could easily see, whether it's due to injury or poor play or just because they're going to be run at such a high pace of play, that you could see Jacory Croskey-Merritt get in and be a factor this year. I really like him a lot. Again, they used both Eckler and Robinson last year were fantasy relevant when they were both on the field. Both have had injury history throughout their career, so you could see JCM being in there. And I think a lot of people are wondering, like, why was this guy a 7th-round pick? Why have I never heard of this guy, Connor? You can talk about the eligibility thing, which is so weird.
Bizarre, strange story. That was not his fault, but the NCAA, he had a weird eligibility issue based on another player wearing the number. It's very long and confusing and a classic NCAA mistake, where he couldn't play college football last year for Arizona. And at New Mexico, the tape was phenomenal.
He basically loaned his jersey to another kid his freshman year when he was redshirted, and so they thought he played his freshman year when he actually didn't.
It wasn't him.
It wasn't him. It was somebody wearing his number, and they couldn't clean it up. And it's
right. And he's supposed to have a big season after transferring up from New Mexico to Arizona, and then he can't play, and that kills his draft stock. Goes to the Shrine Bowl, has a good Shrine week, and I mean, for context, and this might sound crazy, it was definitely one of my hotter draft takes. I had him ranked over R.J. Harvey last year. I had him RB12. I had Harvey 13th. And I like both players, and I both had a 4th-round grade on them. But 4th-round grade compared to a guy that went in the 7th round, if he was able to play college football last year, he would have been a top at least 100, 125 kind of pick. But he's completely overlooked because he couldn't play because of an eligibility issue. Now he's in Commander's camp, and it seems like everybody's like, wait a second, what did we find here?
Yeah, what do you know?
Very talented runner.
Adam Peters finding another late round
good track
back.
record.
You know, good track record when you think about the Elijah Mitchells and the Jordan Masons of the world.
Yeah. I think another thing, too, is that, like, when in doubt, just go with the offense that you feel really good about and that you're confident is going to put up a lot of points. And I think there's some skepticism around the Commanders because last year they played a lot of bad quarterbacks and they had incredible success on 3rd and 4th down, which might be a little bit unsustainable. I kind of go the other way where I look at it and it's like, Jayden Daniels was a rookie, didn't have a good offensive line, had basically one receiver. Now he has a better offensive line. He has a legit left tackle. He's going into his 2nd year. He's going to have gained experience he'll be able to apply. Deebo Samuel, I think, will be rejuvenated. I just think this offense is just going to succeed at an extremely high level. And if Jayden Daniels is healthy, I think you just walk into a top 5 offense, I think, with how good he is. And so I think that there's going to be a lot of touchdowns. There's going to be a lot of fantasy points to be had.
How about another deep sleeper for you?
Yeah, so my next guy, in similar vein to Hollywood Brown, is Rashad Bateman. Who I think, look, everyone's penciling in Zay Flowers as the #1 wide receiver for the Ravens, which I think is correct. But Rashad Bateman, another advanced stats, underlying stats darling, where he was incredibly efficient in terms of his production when targeted. I think we forget too, Rashad Bateman's 25 years old. He was a 1st-round draft pick. Like, they spent significant capital on him. He's dealt with injury issues. And last year was the first year where he really put it all together. 16.8 yards per reception was 3rd highest among qualified wide receivers. His stat line overall was very solid. He went 45 receptions for 756 receiving yards and 9 touchdowns. I think he can be better than that. I think he has another gear that he can get to. I think he is one of the most diverse weapons in this passing attack. I think that the Ravens, I think they're going to have to throw a little bit more than they did last year, because just think about, we talk on one hand about how Derrick Henry ripping off these 70-yard touchdown runs a little bit unsustainable. Okay, if that regresses, what does that mean? It means that the yards have to go somewhere else. And I think that Lamar might have to throw a little bit more. I think that Rashad Bateman, I would not be shocked if he is the most productive wide receiver on the Ravens this year. I make Flowers the favorite, but I think Bateman has that possibility.
Again, we saw him be a wide receiver 1 down the stretch with Zay Flowers out. And the other thing is, again, as we talked about with Palmer, follow the money. Rashad Bateman, they did not need to pay him this offseason. They could have, in terms of the way the contract was, because of the Also, there was also some other NFLPA stuff there, but ultimately, like, they did the right thing and they paid Rashad Bateman. They gave him an extension this offseason. They took care of one of their own, which I think speaks to how they think about him and what they saw down the stretch last year. And so it's never been a question of talent, it's been a question of health, and we saw him health last year. Among wide receivers with at least 50 targets last year, he was third among wide receivers in fantasy points per target. Like, so if he can earn targets, which we think he can in this offense with Lamar Jackson, I think there's some real potential for fantasy opportunity here. I'm at 131 overall. He's going like outside 155 on the Fantasy Life consensus. So again, I'm like 2 or 3 rounds ahead of ADP.
Yep.
My last deep sleeper here, guys, the rookie, 7th-round rookie, Kyle Monangai at Chicago, right? It's Kyle Monangai time. And listen, 7th-round rookie running back, you think DeAndre Swift has a lot of volume there. Ben Johnson loves 2 running backs.
Yes.
And the running back that he loved in the first preseason game against the Miami Dolphins was Kyle Monangai.
That is correct.
Right now. So if you're looking for Ben Johnson to find his new David Montgomery kind of player, it's Monangai, where we're one DeAndre Swift injury potentially away from Monangai at some point this season being the starting running back for the Bears. And he's free right now.
It's 100%. I have Monangai and JCM, Croskey-Merritt, on every single dynasty team.
Right.
And I will, tons of credit, because Connor turned me on to both these guys. And once I started doing the deep dive, I was just like, oh, yeah, I'm in. 7th-round draft pick out of Rutgers, the easy comparison is Isaiah Pacheco, another 7th-round running back out of Rutgers. But Monangai, over 1,200 yards in the Big Ten each of the last 2 years, doesn't fumble.
Never fumbled.
Right. He is somebody that is, like, again, it's not going to blow you away with his speed.
No, he's not fast.
He's not fast at all.
He's just a hammer.
He's just a wrecking ball that is impossible to bring down. And you think about Chicago and playing in that cold weather and playing in that division. What does Ben Johnson want to do to take pressure off Caleb Williams? He needs to be able to effectively run the ball. And it appears, like literally from the first preseason game, that he's passed Roschon Johnson on this depth chart. So it's going to be him and DeAndre Swift. And, like, there's a non-zero chance that he passes DeAndre Swift at some point. Like, it does. Of all the kind of late-round running backs, you can see the clearest path to potential playing time for Kyle Monangai, who is completely free. Yeah, I put on some sleeper lists as well. Love the call. Again, Tyler Warren, Monangai, I'm like,
It pays to not be on the Tonight Show.
Yeah,
That's what they're
exactly.
saying.
It worked out for you. Yeah.
Don't see the same envy for Hollywood Brown, strangely.
He wasn't. I tried to sell it for you.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Well, Rashad Bateman you like.
I do like Rashad Bateman.
okay.
I do. I definitely like Rashad Bateman. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest RotoWorld fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.